Hello, my lovelies. So this is this is actually my second attempt at recording this. So hence why my tea is already half drank. But today we are going to be talking about the books that I have read so far this year, 2026. So get comfy, get cozy, grab yourself a nice beverage. I have got the Yorkshire Teas Sticky Toffee brew. And guys, when I tell you it smells and tastes just like a sticky toffee pudding, it's incredible. I make it with oat milk. It's unbelievable. Honestly, I don't know how they've done it, but their like dessert treat biscuit range that Yorkshire have released, they're just absolutely hitting the flavours out of the park. I think they've also done a Victoria sponge one that I need to get my hands on. I digress. We've got 12 books to get through today, so let's just get straight into it. These first two books I'm going to group together because it's a novella and then a sequel. That is Six Scorched Roses and The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King by Carissa Broadbent. This is the novella and the final book in the Nightborn duet, which is the first duet slash, I can't really say trilogy because of the novella's not a full-length novel, but the Nightborn duet is the first series within the Crown of Nyaxia series. It sounds complicated, but Carissa Broadbent has put up a whole like reading order thing on her Instagram, which actually lays it out really, really well. Six Scorched Roses, you read after reading the first book and before reading the second book, or that's how it's recommended. That is definitely how I would recommend it because we meet these two characters, or the two characters we meet in this book appear in the second book. I loved this novella. I devoured it in a day. I loved our characters, Lilith and Vale. I loved their story. I loved their chemistry. Even though this is a novella, their chemistry and their connection just worked. It made sense. It felt like it was paced well, even though it's in a novella. I don't know how to explain it. I loved this novella. I think on Fable I rated it 4 out of 5 stars, but honestly, I think it's more of like a 4.5, 4.75. And knowing that these characters were going to come back into the series in the second book was the reason why I then picked up the next book, which is The Ashes and Star-Cursed King. Chonky book. Big chonky book. Now, this book I didn't enjoy as much as the novella, which is a shame because the novella is obviously a novella. It's tiny and this is big. But I honestly think it's because reading this book, I was just waiting for Lilith and Vale to make an appearance, but this is following Aurea and Rain. In all honesty, like I've done a reading vlog on this, but I actually don't really remember what happened in this book. I don't want to say too much because this is obviously the final book in the duet, but the first book, Serpent of the Wings of Night, we follow our main character Aurea, who is the daughter of the Vampire King, but she herself is not a vampire. She is the adopted daughter of the Vampire King. And I don't know if it's every year or I can't quite remember, but there is a tournament where a bunch of vampires can compete to win this tournament, and the winner gets one wish from the goddess Nyaxia, who is the creator of vampires. And Aurea enters this contest in the hopes to get this one wish, even though she is not a vampire. And that is where she meets Rain, our MMC, and the story unravels from there. And this obviously is a continuation of the first book. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, I am pretty sure this is a forced marriage trope. Yep. And I really should have watched my reading vlog to remind myself, but if I'm remembering rightly, I think Aurea kind of annoyed me. Like, I think the main FMC did annoy me at times, not to the point of like unenjoyment. And when Lilith and Vale finally made an appearance, I got so excited, but like they're crumbs in this book, if I'm being honest. They're really not even as side characters, they're not the main side characters. So I think Carissa Broadbent did such a good job at making me fall in love with these certain characters that then didn't really appear in the main book. So I don't know. I really love the world of, I forgot what this actually called, because Nyaxia is the goddess, but what is the place actually called? Hang on. Obertrays, right? Obertrays, which is the world, the country, the land that this is set in. I am really intrigued by the lore and the gods and goddesses of this world, and we do definitely get more of that in this book, but I want even more. I want even more of the lore of this world and how the gods and goddesses works and their relationships and stuff like that. I just want more of it. And with how chunky this book is, I just thought I was gonna get more, but I didn't. I just remember at times kind of getting through this book quite slowly. It felt sluggish at times. I think I rated this 3.5 stars. Yeah, it just felt a bit sluggish at times, and that I was kind of pushing myself to get through it. But then there'd be times where it picked up and I really enjoyed it. There was a moment in this book where we met another character for a short period of time, and I really enjoyed this character, but she wasn't around for long. And I was a bit like, oh, okay, moving on, I guess. So this is the thing. It's as if like Carissa Broadbent has made me fall in love with the characters that I'm not actually supposed to care that much about. And when it comes to our main characters, I'm just like, they're fine, I guess. Like, they're fine. Yeah, I do see me continuing this series at some point, but it's not a must. But if she ever releases a full length on these two, I will be gobbling that up, that's for sure. I honestly just cannot get over how insanely good this tea is. It's ridiculously good. It's just... I was riding a romanticy high, clearly, because then I picked up Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I have finally started my Throne of Glass journey. Now, admittedly, this is not my first time reading this book, but I read it so long ago. Like, the first time I read this book was when it was released. So it's been so long, it was as if I was reading it for the first time, which was great because it meant I could enjoy it all over again for the first time. Okay, so I feel like I am like the last person on earth to not read this series and not know what it's about. But just in case there is somebody out there who doesn't know what this is about, we follow Celaena Sardothian, who is considered to be Adelane's most notorious assassin. She is 18 years old, and to serve her punishment for her crimes, she is currently a, I guess, slave in the camp of Endovia, but the king has decided he wants a champion. So he requests that his lords each present to him a champion that will then compete in this competition, and the winner will become the king's champion and live in the castle and get all the riches and all the good things that you could get from living in a castle, but you have to do the king's dirty work, essentially. And the prince decides to choose Celaena as his champion. We are following Celaena as she is competing in this competition, but there's so much more to it than that. We do have, it's written in third person, but we do get like multiple point of views. So we are also following Dorian, who is the crown prince. We are following him, and we are also following Cole, who is the guard of the king's military. He's like the head guard, the chief guard. I can't remember. He's got an actual title, but it's escaped me right now. But they are our three main cast of characters, and there is a bit of a love triangle. Okay, but it's because this is YA, or I mean borderline new adult, I would say as well. I mean, Celaena's 18, but Dorian is, I think, 20 and Cole's 21. So like, I would say it's borderline new adult, the higher end of YA, especially with the themes that are explored in this as well. There is some darker themes the subplot of romance I loved. I think I am just not realizing, I've known this for a while. I don't think I'm a romantasy gal, okay? I'm a fantasy that has romance in it, okay? I need my fantasy to have plot, political intrigue, you know? I need there to be substance to the world and the drama. I'm not just here to read about the romance. The romance is great and I love having romance in it, but I can't have it be the driving force. I just lose interest. I think that's probably why the Crown of Nyaxia books lost me a little bit, because it is romantasy, whereas this is fantasy with the subplot of romance, which is what I liked. I liked that very much. I feel like I'm going on a bit of a tangent and I'm definitely rambling, but I loved this book. Sarah J. Maas, her writing just sits so well with me. My brain just loves it. It just soaks it up like a sponge. It just hits me every time. Every time. And it was so nice to see how she's developed as a author and writer, because this is obviously her first book that she wrote and published. She has definitely come leaps and bounds, but even from book one, she had such talent. And she was able to grasp me from the get-go. I love her writing style. I think it's brilliant. It's not overwhelming or complicated, but it's like her descriptions of things are so beautifully done and vivid, but not overly vivid and flowery to the point where I'm like, wait, what am I trying to envision right now? I think she's great at writing combat scenes. Always loved how she's written female relationships and friendships. This book is no exception to that. And I just think she knows how to handle heavier topics. I think she's really good at it. And I think this was a brilliant foundation to the series. Knowing how she works, I know where we've started is not going to be a fraction to where we're going to end. So knowing that, I did read this book being like, how much can I trust / how attached can I get? Especially with the romance as well. I can see why the series is so loved, and I am very excited to continue with it. Spoiler alert, this might not be the only Throne of Glass book in this video, but we will get to that. I'm sad that I only have half a tea for this video, but it's okay. I hope whatever you're drinking is delicious. Sticking to fantasy, but needing a bit of a break from the more intense high fantasy, I then went to The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. Guys, if you are a cozy fantasy lover and you have not read this book, please pick this book up. I adored this book. It had me giggling, kicking my feet. One of the reasons why I love cozy fantasy is if it's done well, you get a very well in-depth vision of the world that's been created without all of the complicated mess that can come with a high fantasy. And Sarah Beth Durst did a great job at building a world that has conflict and has political intrigue without having to go super in depth. The book starts off with our main character. I've been saying it as Keela, so that's how I'm going to say it. Keela fleeing the city that she works in. She is the librarian, and she flees the city, taking as many books as she can with her back to her home island to escape the conflict that is happening. And she is technically breaking the law by taking these books because they're magic books and they're now considered contraband. So she is hiding these books on her home island where she grew up, and the cast of characters that we meet are so fun and quirky. The found family that is created is wonderful. Again, the subplot of romance was so good. I ate it up, and our friendship between Keela and Kaz, who is the sentient spider plant, was just like Kaz. Kaz is just I can't. He is my favorite character, and I cannot wait to read The Enchanted Greenhouse, which is essentially like his book in a sense, his origin story about how he became a sentient talking spider plant. This just has all the ingredients of a cozy fantasy, and it all came together so beautifully. And Sarah Beth Durst has wonderful writing. It felt like a hug reading this. If you're a fan of Howl's Moving Castle, okay, that kind of vibe, you need to pick this book up. Sticking on the cozy fantasy vibe, I wanted to keep riding that train. So then I picked up Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. Again, I've done a reading vlog on this. You can go check that out if you want more in-depth thoughts. However, quick rundown. Loved it. Not my favourite. There was me thinking I was completing a series. Plot twist, Heather Fawcett decided to do a 180 on us and tell us that not only is there a book 4, she's currently writing book 5. So the series isn't even finished yet, which, don't get me wrong, I am happy about. Any reason to stay in this world I will take. But yeah, out of the 3 that have been released so far, this is probably, I would say, I don't know if it is my least favourite, but with this one, my biggest gripe, I guess, was with Wendell, in the sense that Wendell Bamblebee, I love him so much. I love him so much. And I didn't get enough of him in this book, which I know this is, okay, I get it. This is Emily Wilde, right? This is her story, her book. She is our main character. These books are written as her diary, right? But one of the reasons why I love Emily and Wendell's relationship and dynamic is because it's the grumpy sunshine, but she's the grumpy, he's the sunshine, and it works. They balance each other out so well. It's just, I just love it. But in this book, with what the plot is, I don't want to say it because I don't want to spoil anything, but Wendell's not having the best time. So, it's understandable why he wouldn't be happy-go-lucky Wendell. But that is why I love Wendell, because he is happy-go-lucky, and faced in troubling times, he always just has like a silly smile on his face and tackles hard times with humour. But he didn't really do that in this book, which again, I understand given the circumstances of this book, but it's one of the reasons why I love him. And another thing I was kind of sad about, in the first 2 books, we do get like a chapter or 2 from Wendell's perspective, as in like he essentially writes a couple of journal entries in Emily's diary, and we get those, but we didn't get that. And the whole time I was waiting for a Wendell diary entry, and we didn't get it, which I was kind of sad about, but I still really enjoyed it, and I am so happy that this isn't the end. Even if it was the end, I'd still be happy, but the fact that we will be returning to the world of Emily Wilde and the rest of the cast and characters as well, I'm very excited about. And I love fairies, okay? I love fairies. I've always loved fairies. And something that I've been actively trying to find are books that are your classic fairy books. Like, don't get me wrong, obviously Throne of Glass, all that jazz, like the fae fantasy that's been popping up, I do love, but they're not fairies. They're like elves, right? Or high elves. I want fairies, and the Emily Wilde series gives me that fairy itch. So if you want more fairy itch as well, obviously probably the most well-known would be the Folk of the Air trilogy. I have read it. We won't talk about that in this video. Wings of Starlight by Alison Saft, which is the Queen Clarion origin, like those kind of books. If you have any fairy recommendation books, please let me know, because I'm always on the lookout for them, especially older, like non-children fairy books, which I do feel like is kind of hard to come by. But if you have any that isn't Emily Wilde's or Folk of the Air, please let me know, because I want to read them. We're now going to take a step away from fantasy and go to, I believe, what was my first 5-star of the year. And I'm not surprised in the slightest that this was my first 5-star of the year, because it's from one of my favourite authors, from one of my favourite series, The Daisy Chain Flower Shop by Laurie Gilmore. Okay, it's no secret on this channel how much I love the Dream Harbour series. It is one of my comfort series. Laurie Gilmore is one of my comfort authors. Is this series one of the best written series of all time? No, but I don't care. That's not why I come to these books. I pick up these books when I need pure escapism, when I need lightheartedness, when I need just a good, jolly old time, classic small town shenanigans, small town romances. I just don't have a bad thing to say about this series. I just feel good every time I read these books. Every time I read these books, I read them within 24 hours. I absolutely fly through these books. My dyslexic brain just eases through Laurie Gilmore's writing because it's not intense, it's not high stakes, it's not, it's just a fun, giggly, gentle time. And I loved the characters in this book. We are introduced to two new the two main characters of this book were actually introduced in the Gingerbread Bakery very briefly. So in this book, we are following Daisy and I was going to call him, Elliot. And I really loved the dynamic of these two. It's a fake dating trope, which I think was executed so well. Sometimes the fake dating trope can just be a bit like, ugh, but I think it was done so well. I think it was done so well. I loved the fun little mystery. Every book in this series has like a fun little mystery plot that kind of unravels, and I thought this one was so fun. There was a little bit when I thought we were going to get a bit icky, but it didn't. It resolved itself very quickly and that was fine. It was so good. Loved it. Will forever love this woman's books. Cannot wait for I don't even think I've looked up what the next one is because I don't think this is the last one, and I'm still waiting for the novella that she wrote. Okay, there's a novella. It's like called The Ice Cream Parlor something. Something ice cream parlor. I don't know. She wrote it for I think it was like a Netherlands book week or something. I am waiting for it. I need it. And I love how every book also has an animal companion of some kind. I just love this series. Okay, you guys, so much. Okay, this next book, little different. We have Hera by Jennifer Saint. Now, I do love me a Greek mythology retelling. And this one, I can't remember what I rated it. I want to say it was maybe 3.5 to 4 stars. Maybe 4.25. I can't quite remember. It took me a little while to get through this book. It's not because I wasn't enjoying it. I have only read one other Jennifer Saint book, which was, I was going to say Aphrodite. Nope, Ariadne. I knew I liked Jennifer Saint's writing, so it wasn't the writing. I think for me, I struggled with the first half of this book. And I struggled with it because of Hera as a character. Now, I love Greek mythology, so I've read many Greek mythology books, listened to many Greek mythology podcasts, watched many documentaries, etc., etc. So I like to think I am quite educated / well-versed with the stories. The whole point of this book is a retelling, and it's specifically a feminist retelling, which I love. I am loving this feminist retelling of mythology that is having a surgence at the minute, because women in ancient mythology, they were not treated well. So having this surgence is brilliant. And I was really looking forward to how Jennifer Saint was going to tackle Hera, because out of all of the Greek goddesses, she is my least favorite. Purely because of how Hera is not a girl's girl, okay? She's not a girl's girl. And that upsets me. So I was hoping that this book was going to shine a new light on her for me, so then I wouldn't dislike her as much as I have. Now, this book did do that. By the end of this book, I liked Hera a lot. The first half of this book, I didn't like. And I think that's probably, to be honest, now that I think about it, that might have been the whole point. We grow to understand why Hera is the way she is and why she becomes the quite brutal goddess that she is, especially when it comes to her treatment of other women. Even though it's her husband that is the one that is misbehaving, she punishes the women. And what Jennifer Saint does is she basically kind of highlights that even though she is punishing the women for the betrayal of her husband, she's doing it because she wants to hurt her husband. She wants to hurt Zeus. Zeus is going after these women for a reason, and some of these women he seems to have genuine feelings for, and that obviously hurts Hera. So to hurt him, she hurts these women. So it's tricky. By the end of this book, I loved the ending of this book, actually. When I think about it, I really loved the ending of this book and how Hera's character kind of develops. And I loved certain relationships that she kind of creates with the other gods and goddesses and just other characters and other beings. And I also kind of loved the downfall of Zeus in this book. It was good. It was good, but I had to get a good 50% into this book to reach that point of enjoyment. I really do recommend this book if you are a fellow Greek mythology lover. It definitely helped me see Hera in a new light. I cannot wait to pick up some more Jennifer Saint. I do have Atalanta. I don't know why, but Electra is one that I keep avoiding. I think it's because from the back of the book, it looks like it's following 3 characters, but the book is called Electra. Really enjoyed this one in the end, even though it took me a bit of time to get there. I'm really glad that I did persist with it, because by the end of it, I was left in awe, as always, with the Jennifer Saint book. So we've got ourselves another novella, you guys. And again, this is another 5-star from a beloved author of mine, a comfort author, an instant buy author, Ali Hazelwood. Just like Laurie Gilmore, anything this woman publishes, I will be picking up. Now, this, Two Can Play, was originally an audio book on Spotify, and the Queen decided to release it in physical format, which I obviously, as you can see, went and picked up instantly, and it had a bonus chapter inside as well. Read this in a day. I was surprised, of course not. My only complaint is that it's not longer. Again, just like with Laurie Gilmore's books, I just gobble up this woman's work. The way she writes, it's like a smooth blanket for my dyslexic brain. And with this book specifically, I really wish this was a full-length novel, because it's combining 2 things that I love, reading and gaming. The fact that we were following 2 game developers, I just thought that was so fun, but also they're book lovers as well. So our 2 main characters, Viola and I forgot his name, Jesse. Viola and Jesse, they are game developers, but they work for 2 separate companies, and these companies are basically banding together to create a game of a very well-known book series, which happens to be our main character, Viola's favourite book series of all time. So this is a very passionate project for her, and her and Jesse, there is a little bit, when I say they have a past per se, they had a bit of an awkward encounter. The fact that they are then forced proximity to go to a winter cabin to do team bonding between the 2 companies. It's a bit of a rocky roller coaster for her. But just like Six Scorched Roses, even though this is a novella, I did not feel like the romance in this was rushed. I feel like it just went exactly how you'd expect it. It didn't feel rushed. It was smooth, it was natural and organic, and it made sense. The miscommunication made sense to me in this book as well. I just want it to be longer, and I want more. I want more. Next, we have got, I think I gave this 4.75. Another very loved book by me, Green Teeth by Molly O'Neill. I loved this book. Got a reading vlog on it. You should go check it out if you haven't already. I loved this book so much. This book is based off British mythology, British folklore, following Jenny Greenteeth, who is a quite renowned British mythological being, creature, lady. This is pegged as cozy fantasy, which it 100% is. I was so skeptical about going into this with it being marketed as a cozy fantasy, because I was like, is it? Is it really? Like, from what I was reading from the back of the book, I was like, this doesn't really sound cozy to me. Besties, it most definitely is 100% cozy fantasy. Even though the stakes are relatively high, like I was saying, the stakes are given to you in a way where you know it's going to be okay. I think that's another thing why I love a cozy fantasy. In a cozy fantasy, you know everything's going to be okay in the end. You just know it. And even though there were times in this book where I was teetering on the edge of like, I actually don't know if this is going to be okay. I don't know if our characters are going to get out of this one. It's all okay in the end. And I loved that. I really liked Molly O'Neill's writing style. She was able to guide us through this story without spoon feeding us certain like information. There was a twist at the end that I didn't necessarily see coming, and I was quite pleasantly surprised at. The found family in this book, so good. This brings back the classic trio dynamic, which I loved. I feel like with a trio dynamic, it's very heavily compared to Harry Potter or Percy Jackson. Even though those are obviously children's kids series, having a trio, I feel like can be quite difficult to do. But this was so good. Was so good. The relationship between Jenny and our two other main characters was beautiful. So our other main character is the witch that gets thrown into Jenny's lake for being a witch, but instead of killing her, Jenny decides to save her, and their friendship that grows and blossoms is beautiful. Like, the female friendship in this book is so good. It's so good. So good. And then our other character, Brackus. Yes, so we have Brackus, and then we have Temperance. So Temperance is the witch. Brackus is I think he's a goblin. Is he a goblin? I think he's a goblin. But he's our third of this trio. And he is kind of like the light-hearted comic relief of the trio. And then we have an animal companion. It has all the ingredients of a cozy fantasy. They go on an adventure or a quest, essentially. They are given 3 quests to complete to then basically kind of solve the overarching evil that has taken over Temperance's town and Jenny's town. It is so good. And the mythology that is woven into this. You are taken to all corners of the British Isles, okay? The scenery description in this just paints Britain so beautifully, as it should. The British countryside described and the coastline in this book, so good. I cannot wait to read Molly O'Neill's newest release. I will be picking it up. It's giving autumn vibes though, so I think I am going to save it for the autumn. But I think I found another kind of instant buy author. Next, we have Delegate Dream Department Store. So this is the first in a duology. It's a Korean translated fiction. I would say people describe this as cozy fantasy, but to me, it's not really the cozy fantasy that I would expect from a cozy fantasy. I would say this is more, it's definitely magical, but maybe like magical realism, maybe. It's not fantasy in the sense of like magic and witches and wizards and fairies and things like that. This is more, you're set in the dream world essentially. So this book is all about dreams, and the Delegate Dream Department Store is where you go purchase your dreams essentially. And something I really loved about this book is it definitely falls into that cozy realism niche that a lot of Korean and Japanese translated fiction falls into. But this one is very unique. I think our author, Mie Lee, I think she did a very fabulous job at finding her own niche within this genre, and she did it brilliantly. I haven't read a book like this before. when it comes to this genre. A lot of the books kind of revolve honestly around shops. This is a shop, but like a bookshop or a cafe, whereas this is in a department store. And again, we have a very interesting cast of characters. We do get your very kind of classic lessons learnt within this book, but not as kind of deep or heavy as sometimes they can be in this genre. I really like how dreams are depicted as kind of like films in this, and there's like dream awards, like film awards, and you've got famous dream makers that are kind of the celebrities in this world. And it was a very interesting book to read. I don't think I'll be picking up the next one. I think this is fine as a standalone, to be honest. But I enjoyed it. I think the cover is also beautiful. And I do think, if you do enjoy these kinds of books, Before the Coffee Gets Cold, Gyeongnam Bookshop, Convenience Store by the Sea, I think it's called. If you like those kinds of books, then I definitely think this is one you should pick up, because it is definitely unique in its own fabulous way. We're getting there, guys. 2 more books to go. Next, we have The Locked Door by Frida McFadden. This is my first thriller of the year, and it is also my first Frida McFadden that I've ever read. And might I say, I am surprised I don't hear more people talk about this book. Obviously, she is most well known for The Housemaid and her Housemaid series, but I know there are some other books that a lot of people like I think it's called like The Teacher. This book in particular, I thought was really good. So mystery thriller is not my go-to genre. I don't read books to kind of, and for example, I don't read horror, okay? They're just not my genres. I read books to have a good giggly time. I don't get that with these genres, so I don't really pick them up. However, I was feeling myself getting into a bit of a reading slump, and I had heard that Frida McFadden is a great author to read if you're trying to get out of a slump. And this was on my TBR cart, and I just thought, you know what? Let's give it a go. Let's give it a go and see what I think. I've enjoyed mystery thrillers in the past. Let's just see how it goes. And I was really, really pleasantly surprised with how much I enjoyed this. I really liked the fact that it's duo timeline. So you're following our main character, Nora. When she was younger, her father was found guilty of being a serial murderer. And we follow a duo timeline of when she was, I think she was 11. She was 11 when this was happening. So we follow 11-year-old Nora, and then I want to say like 29-year-old Laura, something like that. We follow her as she is now a regarded surgeon in her field, and she's basically obviously moving on with her life after this very kind of traumatic thing of finding out your father is a serial killer happened to her. And then one day, the patients that she has been treating are starting to wind up dead in the same way that her father was killing women in the basement of their house. I genuinely did not see the end plot twist coming. The red herrings that she fed me, I believed. Let's just say I did not see the overall plot twist coming in the end. But then it's one of those things, when you read it, you're like, oh no, yeah, that makes sense now. I get that. But I just did not see it coming. I read this in 2 days, gobbled this book up. I probably would have read it in a day if I didn't have work. I really enjoyed this book. I know Frida McFadden can be a bit hit or miss with some people, but if you've read some of her work, or if you like mystery thrillers and you haven't read this one, I would highly recommend it. But yeah, I am now definitely intrigued to pick up more of her books. Like I said, this is just not my go-to genre. I'm not going to be binge reading thrillers, because after I read this book, I did feel like I just don't. It made me feel in a good way. This is how these books are meant to make you feel. You're meant to feel a little bit uncomfortable and a bit icky, and just a little bit oh gosh, this is something ugh. That's how it made me feel in a good way. But I don't want to feel that all the time. So I won't be picking up a mystery thriller again anytime soon. But when I do want to, I do think she's an author I will gravitate towards. Last book. And if you remembered my hint from earlier, you can probably predict what it will be. Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. Okay. Might I say, this at the minute is probably my favourite book of the year. Even though, bear with me, I don't think I rated it 5 stars. Bear with me. Let me explain why. It's because I knew the plot twist. I can't remember why or how, but the big plot twist that is revealed right at the end of this book, I knew. So reading this book, when the seeds were being planted and the hints were there, I knew. And it is kind of annoying that that's the case, because would this have been a 5-star? 100%. If I hadn't have known, this would have definitely been a 5-star, because even knowing the plot twist, my jaw was still on the floor when I read the last page of this book. On the floor. So imagine how I would have been if I hadn't have known. I think I probably would have been unconscious. I would not have been okay. But this was such a good continuation from Throne of Glass. Like, the expansion to the plot in this book. When I hit the halfway point, and one of the biggest plot twists that happened to me anyways, and I was like, we're only 50% of the way through. Where possibly could the rest of this book go? I was absolutely like, I love Selena. The first book, I liked her, but like, I didn't love her. This book made me love her. I fell in love with her in this book. The love triangle was love triangling in this book. The way that Sarah J. Maas, her plot development, she does it so beautifully and so methodically and carefully. I am so excited for where this series is going to go. I know, just from what people have said, from now on, like, this series just explodes. Spoiler alert, I am currently reading The Assassin's Blade, which is the book of novellas, which I am loving. I'm loving. With how this book ends, and knowing just the door that has been opened to this world, I am a little bit speechless, to be honest. I haven't felt this way about a series probably since Crescent City. Like, just wanting to go from one book to the next. I haven't experienced that in so long, and it makes me so happy knowing I have all the books. I have all of them, and it's a completed series. It better be. SJM, this is a personal message to you. This better be a completed series. Don't be doing any of this, spoiler alert, 10 years later, I'm releasing another book. I need this to be wrapped up, okay? Focus on ACOTAR and Crescent City, okay? Stay in that lane. Please and thank you. I need this to be completed. I just love this book. It was so good. So good. I went straight into The Assassin's Blade. So I've now been rabbiting on for nearly an hour, which means it's lunchtime. So I am going to go and get something to eat. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below, have you read any of these books? If so, what did you think? Did you enjoy them? Did you not? Let me know. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like and subscribe. And I really hope to see you in the next video. Bye!